Welcome to the Empowering Industry Podcast, a production from Empowering Pumps and Equipment as the voice of the pump and related equipment industry. Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 129 of the Empowering Industry Podcast. I'm your host, Charli Matthews, and I'm just so glad every single week that you join us. Do us a rating and review, or like and subscribe, however you want to do it. But just let us know you're out there by mentioning us at Empowering Pumps or using that hashtag Empowering Industry Podcast. So today I want to jump in and talk a little bit about, what's coming up. And last week, I told you about Innovators Month. And so take a look at these hashtags. Happy Innovators Month. So I keep trying to say innovation, which is also true. But so happy Innovators Month. And also National Water Quality Month is this month. And I do have a story, our interview today. She is definitely an advocate for the trades and for water quality. And so I won't spoil it yet, but stick around for that. And just, again, use those hashtags so you can connect, share your story, whether it's about Innovators Month or National Water Quality Month. That's the hashtag there. I'm actually planning a trip to Toronto to see my coaches, my legacy leadership teammates that I haven't seen this whole time. I started working on my leadership skills several years ago, and it's going to be so great to be in the same room with these like-minded people and learn from my coaches in person. Mindset and emotional intelligence is what I learned. It really matters. It matters what we tell each other. It matters what we tell ourselves. And if you're out there and you're thinking, am I a leader? Then I'm confident that this group of people will be able to help you. Check out the Leadership Launchpad Projects podcast. I listen to every single episode. I think that these are, high performing leaders out there that they're bringing together and getting their story and sharing it with all of us. So take a quick subscribe over there, as well as we celebrate this leadership month that August is for us in Empowering Pumps and Equipment. So coming up with us is the Leadership Summit. Don't forget to sign up for that. And, really just so many great speakers there covering, DEI, manufacturing challenges. What is it like to be a leader right now? And then learning from some other people and their stories as they share some of their legacy information and knowledge and skills. So take a look at that. I also wanted to mention that we did a knowledge shared series from the recruiter's perspective. Alex was really great at just kind of jumping on here with me and going through what the job market is. How do you really recruit and retain talent? And I just hope that y'all all will take a listen to that, whether you are looking for someone or just want to understand that market, the career market and how to kind of move and shake and get ready for interviews. You have the power if you are looking for a job right now, and our manufacturers and our companies out there. You really need to be prepared and know, how can I, what are some of the things that I can do to recruit and retain that talent? First things first, figure out what the job market's like. So we have a 3-part series. Start there with that job market. And it really is a great recruiter's perspective. So check that out. I'll put the link in the show notes. And of course, we don't want to go on without reminding you of EPIC. That is the Empowering Pumps and Industry Conference. This is going to happen in Pasadena, Texas on November the 14th and 15th. And we are still accepting award nominations throughout the month. It's a great opportunity to highlight people in the industry, give somebody a pat on the back and encouragement. We will be promoting these nominees. So it's just a great way to get involved and really showcase somebody in the industry. You can also do that by nominating a person of the week. We love to share your stories. That is on Empowering Pumps all the time, but I will include the link in the show notes. So let's get to our industry interview. This is with Becky Henderson. She is the lead key account manager at Grundfos. I have met her actually through Empowering Women in Industry conference, and she's one of those ladies that you just want to know her story and learn more about her. And that is what we did on the interview. What I found out is she's really passionate about the trades and passionate about water, of course. She works for Grundfos, so that is a no brainer. And I really did feel it, the connection there about how she can, provide mentorship for people within our industry. So I won't spoil the interview and I will just get to it. So without further delay, here's your interview. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Empowering Industry Podcast. I'm your host, Charli Matthews, and I have one of my favorite people on today. I actually met her through the Empowering Women Conference. And so I'm really excited to just get to know Becky Henderson is who is with us today. And I just really want to hear a little bit about your story. I know a little bit about what you do, but I want to hear your journey. So let's just start with you, Becky.
Well, I started out needing to find a position where I could have a better work-life balance because I was getting ready to have a baby, right? But I had some logistic background, so I applied at a company that had people, and they forwarded my resume on to a local manufacturer's rep. And I had no idea that there was this whole subculture underneath the trades, right, with wholesalers and industry and specifying engineers was just completely foreign to me. So I started to work for that company as an office manager, learned really quickly about, how things work. And then, we had some specifiable lines. I started engaging with mechanical engineers and started learning more of the technical process that went along with it. I worked there for almost 20 years, just learning the industry, getting good at, communicating with wholesalers and being in the field and working with contractors. And opportunity came up to go into national sales for a manufacturer. And, since then I've spent the last 10, 12 years working as a manufacturer's employee and managing buy-sell rep relationships, working directly with decision makers at wholesale levels, and putting on educational opportunities for the trades professionals. So it's really evolved into this position right now, but it's been tremendous. It's a 28-year ride for the industry.
Yeah. Well, I love sales. It's one of my favorites. Just about building relationships and getting to know people and really like trying to make sure that you're adding value and solving their problem, to be honest.
Right.
That's really, we may not be engineers, but we can solve problems and that's really important.
I say I'm not an engineer, but I can speak it.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. One of my questions was about, I know you're in technical sales and, that even just as a marketer, we have to learn about the product so much, right?
Right.
And so that understanding and background that you can get, a lot of that does come on just being on the job and learning. But tell me
Right.
from your perspective, what it's been like to kind of dive into these technical products.
From my perspective, it engages my intellect, right? So I like to get in. I like to tear things apart and figure out how they work, and that's just kind of me personally. But that's helped a lot in this career because I'm not afraid to put on boots and go out on a job site and get muddy and climb up into a crawl space and look at something. I mean my curiosity actually engages that. But at the same time, if you're going to be working with people who are making decisions based on what they think a trade professional might want, then you actually have to live in a trade professional skin for a little bit, and understand how difficult, maneuvering and accessibility and ease of maintenance and all of these things are tremendously important as a marketer and a manufacturer's perspective. So it has helped a lot. And my advice to anybody is don't be afraid to get dirty. Get out there and get after it.
Yeah, and I think it gives you a level of respect too when you have been there and you at least try to understand what somebody's day is like. I love going on a plant tour. I know I've said that so many times, and I've definitely been to Grundfos before. But there's so much that you can learn just by walking the floor or engaging with those people. And I do know that you are very interested in working with people, developing people, mentoring, and I've seen that. I love when you just ask, okay, how can I help? How can I connect with people more? And just from you, and kind of, have you had a mentor in your past, or are you just really just want to be that mentor for others?
Well, I have had a mentor, and I worked for one of the most transformational leaders I've ever seen in my life. I mean, the guy just really understood what it meant to connect with people, um, still maintaining a professional, relationship, but connect, understand, and have empathy for your position, and do the things necessary, not to give an answer, but to guide to the answer, right? So he's empowering the team, empowering the individual to make their own decisions, find their own solutions, and that gives you the emotional buy-in, I guess, if you will, towards making something happen. Otherwise, you're just answering yes or no or checking a box. So I had that leader, and he just recently retired, so I'm real sad. But now it's time for the people that he developed to take on those situations and those roles, and I've enjoyed it very much. I work with some amazing colleagues. We have people who are developing in our sales team, and just working with them. And for some of us old salts, it's fun to sit back and see the passion that you had when you were starting out reflected in someone else. It's like, oh man, you're a young version of me, and I want to help you. So
Yeah, and it energizes you too.
it
It
does.
fuels you to kind of get back out there and do it. And I think it's normal. I think also the pandemic had a lot to play on, like, okay, back to the basics. What do I love to
Hmm.
do? What fueled me to even go down this path, right?
Right.
I'm curious because definitely passionate about the trades because this is your journey and how you got here. But I'm curious if you're passionate about water. And I asked that. I know that Grumpus is, and you work
Hmm.
there. And how does
Hmm.
that feed into your personal passion for water?
Well, it's time everybody get really passionate about water. I mean, the level of, oh, I don't know what the
The
word I'm looking
need,
for.
right?
The need is there, and
Hmm.
people have been just very laissez-faire about their consumption habits and waste and treatment and stuff, until you finally, there's the end. We can actually see it now. So we
Yeah.
have to start, slowing the acceleration. And part of this mission that Grundfos is in is not only to provide sustainable solutions, but to educate those of us who are in the affluent countries, affluent countries, to start getting serious about what their impact is on everyone else. I mean, you've got to think globally now. Okay, it's important to bring on a global perspective, and I feel very passionate about that, and the products that I encourage wholesalers to stock. Now, do they always do that? Not necessarily, but there will come a day when that's going to be important to everyone.
Yeah, and I think it really is a global effort. It has to be. You see, uh, you know, I just recently went to Africa. I'll tell you just a quick story there. And, they're still carrying water and jugs on their backs and their head and everything. But I also saw, like, how in the world would we get the infrastructure into some of these places? They may even be, I don't know. I think about it like in the 1920s or something. I don't even know if that's the right, decade to go in, but just
Hmm.
it looks like old timey land. And if that's the case, then we used to be there and we know how to get out of that. So using our knowledge and expertise to help some of these other countries
Hmm.
excel, to fast forward, if you will,
Hmm.
at a more quickly pace. I think it's really important that we talk about it. because we've done it already. And
Mhm.
so let's look back. We always talk about that, look back at history and what did we do to get here, and how can we bring some of that infrastructure into other areas efficiently.
Mhm.
So just, as we've been talking, is there anything else kind of on your mind that you wanted to share with our audience?
Well, it's funny that you brought up your trip to Africa because Grundfos does an initiative once a year. It's called Walk for Water. Okay, and it's an informative exercise for a good cause, right? We here in Kansas will actually go to a city park and take these two 5-gallon buckets and walk them down to a lake and scoop up the water and then carry them a mile back the other direction to a desalination or purification rig that we've set up inside a little swimming pool. We dump the water into the swimming pool and it's producing clean water on the outside. So it's educational, and we raise money for a very good cause. Part of the problems that we have bringing those infrastructures in is educating the governments that are involved with supporting the agenda, right? So if you have a tyrannical regime that's abusing their own people and for financial gain, then you're gonna have problems with that, right? So you have to break down all of these barriers and look at it from from a point of compassion, right? It's
Yeah,
not all
and
about money; it's about
right.
compassion.
And how can we teach that and how it would benefit the people in that area, in different ways, right? How can that culture or community actually grow from this, and they can be more prosperous, as well, as a city or a country or whatever. One other thing I just want to note on I had the heart surgery back in July, and actually the Grundfos Walk for Water with the 3 miles, that was my goal to come out of that. So from July to October, I really had that on my list of what I was trying to do, so that I felt healthy, on the
Yeah,
stage or whatever. But it really was a Grundfos Walk for Water that gave me like, okay, I've got to hit that 3 mile walk, and I was just walking on the treadmill, not carrying anything at that point. But anyway, that was just a nice little happy that y'all did encourage me, because water is really important to us, part of our mission, both personally and professionally. And just a little extra thank you to Grumpus for putting that on, and encouragement for me to get healthy. And really, we want that for everyone, right? We want it for ourselves
right.
and the people in our organizations and around the world. So you are
Charlie,
doing
what a
that.
great story. What a great story.
Mhm.
Thank you. That really touches me. I appreciate hearing that. I'm going
Yeah,
to share
and I don't
that.
think I've shared. I know. I was just thinking I
We
haven't
should
shared that.
share that.
Yes, yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
Thank
so
you.
maybe I'll do that on the stage, in New Orleans. That
That
would
would
be a
be
really great
great.
idea. Okay.
That would be
Well,
great. I hope you
so
do.
you'll be there. You'll be, in New Orleans for Empowering Women in Industry, and WEFTEC is also in town that week. And so October 13th is when we'll be there. But I'm really excited that you said that you would be part of our fashion show. So this year, and it's really big for our women in the trades as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
And we talk about PPE and the proper clothing that we need, right? The
Mhm.
equipment that we need
Mhm.
to be successful out in the field. And so I think that we all have a different perspective, and I love you to meet more of those trades women that are going to be there. I know they're going to, just win from being around you and kind of sharing
Mhm.
your knowledge as a mentor. What about from your perspective? What are you looking forward to?
Well, I'm excited to do the fashion show, right? So, I mean, that's always, you put me on a stage, I'm a ham, but the the
Same.
the message that you're giving is not just that you need clothes to fit you and be functionally correct, right? Because if you got these long gaping holes and stuff in safety vests, that's a potential liability, right? You
Mhm.
can get
Right.
hurt getting hung up on something because you're wearing ill-fitting equipment. But at the same time, you're actually putting what makes you the human female form into the environment that has been predominantly occupied by men, and that just reinforces the positive message that we're putting out there. Right? You belong. You fit. You look like you fit, and
Mhm.
that is so important to the mindset of a lot of women who enter the trades. They don't know that they belong, and we should embrace the fact that they do.
Yeah, and that is the point. We want to showcase what does women in industry look like. Has a lot of different shapes and sizes
It does.
and styles and personalities, and I love it because it's one of my favorite things that I give my daughter is to be part of this fashion show. And she says,
Mm-hmm.
you can, be strong and you can be tough and you can wear whatever you want, and she's
Right.
just so excited to hear that. And it does empower her. So I know that it empowers our women who are working in that field every day too, just to have people around them that really understand that we're doing the work already. Here we
Right.
are. This
We're
is
already
what
here.
it really looks like. That's right. So
Yeah.
yes, awesome, awesome, awesome.
Well,
Well,
the other thing I wanted to share is that when what I feel is so impactful with your empowering message is that you don't have to check the parts of your personality that make you a woman at the door, right? You don't have to leave those aside in this industry. And I'm a 30-year veteran here, and I remember the days where you had to stop being a woman and think like a man. And the mindset has completely changed. Now we're learning that there is value that comes from a feminine perspective. And we actually do contribute based on it, precisely who we are and because of who we are. So I mean it's a good agenda, and I love giving you any support I can.
yeah, and we have learned too that need is so strong, even in the C-suite, to bring in. We'll just call it emotional intelligence as being one part of that. It's just so needed today. Our mindset and just the encouragement that we bring into the table. I love the diversity of thought, and we can talk about that for hours and hours. But to think about just how many things we think about in a moment. I mean, we could
Mm-hmm.
go any different direction. That is a um, it is a it's one of those characteristics that you should be putting on there as a specialty to be able to do that,
I
and to
think
think
so.
outside of a box or a focused unit,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to do a lot of different things at one time. But the other thing that I want to just touch on for you is you have this experience in our industry,
Mm-hmm.
and you were talking about earlier that people have retired and moved on, but as far as like capturing that knowledge and
Mm-hmm.
really being a resource for people, I want to thank you for doing that, just by sharing your story today. But do you see any other ways that you're doing that specifically, or your company is doing that to kind of retain the knowledge that has been shared?
Well, one of the things, obviously, we are constantly working internally to train and develop people that come into our company. Right, so it's a learning perspective with lots of teachers. Okay, so that is what we do as a company. We self train, but from the industry perspective, it's important. One of the initiatives that we're considering is going out and providing a sustainable um, source of new trade professionals, right? I was talking with a gentleman in California, and he it comes from an at-risk Latino neighborhood, and he is a licensed master plumber, and he's found this group of kids that like to mess with cars and do tinkering and things like that, and he's set up with a local rec center, brings these kids in and teaches them how to solder, how to thread pipe, how to uh, do any number of different things. And he is teaching them the trade, just putting it out there for them. And then I got to thinking, wouldn't this be great if, as a manufacturer, I am supplying him all of these training resources and tools and samples and equipment. At the same time, maybe we can partner with a way of mentoring or giving them early job placement with companies that will support the training agenda, right? So you have more and more recognized companies, industry leaders in trade that are willing to bring these kids in and give them a positive direction for their future that might have ended up in the circle of poverty and more of the social ills that come with that. So, I mean, it's going to take, it takes a village, right? It's going to
Yeah.
take all of us who are very passionate about the industry and about the trades to get involved and make a difference. Because if we're waiting for somebody to legislate, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and I think that that's where we'll see. I mean, even with the Empowering Pumps and Industry Conference that's going to take place in San Jacinto College, part of that is engaging, the industry with the workforce and the future workforce. What does that look like? Whether you've got to get creative. I mean, we've talked about the need and kind of the skills gap that we have, and how are we going to fill that? And of course, I do believe that women are going to fill some of those jobs. That makes the natural sense to me as far as the numbers go. But then, how are we going to recruit those people? How are we going to bring people in and set them up for jobs? And how can we align those best? So I am excited. We have Ansel come in to speak on our CEO panel.
Ansel's great.
Yes.
You're going to love his contributions. Yes. They're great.
Yeah, absolutely. I met him once, and that's all I needed to know. Like, he needs to stay around me a lot. I'm going to be just fueled by his passion for sustainability and the industry as a whole, and people, just, people. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to just staying connected with you, of course. And Grundfos has been a wonderful partner of ours over the years. So I'll just leave you. Is there anything else you want to say to our listeners?
No, I just remember that, we all play a part, right? Everybody's valuable, and we just need to listen better, right? Listen and open our minds and be ready for a change that gives everybody the most benefit.
Okay, well, I'm not going to let you get away without any little rapid fire. So
okay.
I do like to ask what your favorite book is.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Okay, good one.
Without a doubt.
Yes. And then favorite song?
Oh, that's a toughie. Give me another one while I'm thinking about it.
Okay. Best advice you've ever received?
Don't settle with no.
Don't settle with no.
No.
I'm going to put that on my wall somewhere. Yes, that is a wonderful one. All right. Did you think of something? Favorite music?
I like an artist named Phoebe Bridgers. She's kind of an indie kind of.
Cool. Okay, I'll have to look that up.
Her.
Okay, wonderful. And then the last thing I'll leave you with is just, do you have any advice, and you've given us some already, but any advice to somebody coming in our industry?
Don't be afraid of making a mistake. Okay, we do it. We do it all the time, and it's natural. And don't beat yourself up. Get rid of negative self-talk and find somebody that you can lean on for support. And it's okay. It's okay to do these things, right? We need support. We need to engage and stop worrying about, looking foolish, because you're going to, right? Just accept that and find ways to make yourself better.
I love it. Thank you again, Becky. I knew it was going to be a great session with you, and I look forward to the next one.
All right. You take care. I'll see you in New Orleans.
Yes. And that brings us to the end of the show. Thanks for listening, everybody. Do us a favor, subscribe, rate and review, share this episode with somebody else. And you can always reach us at Empowering Pumps. So give us a social media mention. We'd love that. And use that hashtag Empowering Industry Podcast. You can email me anytime at podcast@Empowering Pumps. And we'll be back next week with a new episode. So until then, be empowering.